Broncos country, we are back. Sorry for the 5-minute false start. Having some technical difficulties on our end. Trying to get Coach added in. He doesn't have audio, so we're going to try to work those out live. But welcome back to another episode of the Broncos Zone podcast, part of the Elevated Pulse Sports family of podcasts. By the fans, for the fans, diehards only. Right now, we're just rocking two of us right now. You've got myself, Zach, and we've got Braden. Braden, welcome back. We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, buddy.
Yeah. Started a new teaching job and takes a lot of work. So
we are glad to have you back. Well, you know what? This was your summer break. Now you're getting into your training camp for school. And this week, we're actually starting NFL training camp. Let's go.
I'm so excited. Got my tickets, not for I think till August 8th or something along those lines, but I'm ready to go. I'm so psyched.
So let's see, 10-ish days away, 11 days away. That's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Very, very jealous.
Yeah, you just gotta, when you're a teacher, hopefully here comes Cobb. But anyways, when you're a teacher and you got the summers off, you got time to sit in waiting rooms and get those early tickets.
I love it. Well, you're gonna have to report back. You will be our eyes and ears on the ground. We might be able to get a couple more people out there to a couple other practices, but really, really excited. 2 weeks ago, we kicked off our episode talking about the heat of the summer. Surprise, surprise, the heat has not gone away. And I like to call this, we're getting even hotter. And this weekend's going to be 100 at training camp, which is going to be crazy. You know what? I think we're just getting this because Bronco season's here. It's time to turn the temperature up. We are officially arrived. Players reported today. Kickoff on Friday. And we're really excited because we're in the off season, but we're still getting closer to the season. And now we actually have training camp. We'll be kind of kicking off our plan for how we talk about training camp, preseason, and then that'll get us up to the actual regular season. So each week we'll kind of be breaking down biggest stories, surprises, team updates, league updates, hopefully no injury updates. And much more. So stick around with us for the next couple of weeks. This will even get even more fun once we actually get to the games. That's what I think we're all excited about. So with today being the first day of players reporting, we're going to kick off this week with predictions on some of the key battles in camp and really what it means for the Broncos heading into the regular season. It's an interesting offseason for us. Everyone probably saw the reports that came out. Depending on which list you're looking at, Broncos rated number 2, which is incredible. And different offseason topic than we've had in years past. This is a deep roster, probably the deepest we've had in over a decade. So camp battles mean something a little bit different this year. It's more about talent, more about scheme fit of what we want to do with, of course, Vance Joseph, but our new OC, Davis Webb. We'll dive into a little bit of one of the key battles in camp, J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, that 3-4 running back position battle as well. It's going to be interesting. We had one kind of key gap on the D-line after John Franklin Myers left. And then we don't know what's going to happen with our first-round pick from a couple years ago, Jahdae Barron. So it's going to be really interesting. As per normal, we're going to kick off with trivia. We'll talk about some of the latest news, and then we'll get into our predictions and battles to be watching out for throughout camp. Coach Cobb, can you hear us? Oh, no. We still can't hear you. We'll try one more time with you potentially leaving and coming back. So, Braden, you might be solo on the good old trivia question.
That's a lot of pressure. That is a lot of pressure. But you know what? If we got to do it, I'll step up.
Let's see what we can do. Okay. The Broncos have been around for more than 65 years. And we have held training camp in a couple different locations in Colorado. Hopefully you know about all of those. But there was one time, 1 year, where we broke tradition and we held training camp in a different location outside of the state of Colorado. Do you know what year it was and where we went? This is a hard one. I had to do some research to get a training camp question that would hopefully try to stump people.
Okay, so let me think about it. I don't. This hasn't happened in recent years because it's always been in that Inglewood area.
Yep.
And you said in Colorado, because I did go to the training camp the year after we lost the Super Bowl to the Seahawks, and that was in the stadium, which was cool. Yep. Got up close,
Yep. This is outside of Colorado. The one time we did it outside of Colorado, yes. And then we've done it we did it back at, 80s in Greeley. We've done it in Golden before, done it in Fort Collins. You're right. We did the stadium a couple times, which was pretty cool. And I think that was, obviously that was before COVID.
Yeah. This has got to be before Shanahan too.
Yep. Before Shanahan. All right. Do you want a couple hints?
Okay. Was it before or after head coach Red Miller?
Oh, I got to see when Coach Miller was here. This was before.
Okay. Any other hints?
I'll give you the hint. A couple years before, which does not make it easier.
Okay, so we're talking early 70s.
Early 70s. 1972, right. I'll give you that.
Okay. So the year was 1972?
1972.
And where it was. My gut wants to say Utah, but
You're not far. Okay.
North or south of Utah? Is it Arizona?
West.
Oh. Los Angeles or Las
There you
Las
go.
Vegas?
There you go. Los Angeles.
Okay.
In Pomona. Okay. This one was difficult. So this was we did training camp at Cal Poly Pomona. And the coach at the time was John Ralston. He had just come off back-to-back Rose Bowl wins when he was coaching in college. And he wanted the team to completely focus and do a complete fresh start after he took over from Lou Saban. And then he did it at the campus, and the campus had its own farm, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh. Yeah, sometimes you just got to go through process of elimination.
Well, it's not like some of these other teams that are practicing, in different states year after year, which is kind of fun.
Cowboys.
The Giants, I think they practice at a different they're in a different state. I forgot. Everyone's been trashing on them recently about Harvey taking them out. So, all right. So that is the one time we have been out of this state for training camp. We'll see with the Penner Walton ownership group what happens. I don't know if we're gonna be practicing, in a Walmart facility one day. Maybe in an exotic location. That could be interesting. We take training camp on the road. Maybe we go to Arkansas. That'd be an interesting spot to do it. But it's a perfect segue to get into Broncos news. And as everybody knows, got a brand new facility that is
Yeah, we do.
beautiful. $175 million that Penners put into this. Coach Cobb still can't hear us. We can't hear him. Braden, you saw the photos probably released earlier today. What do you think? Early impressions.
I really like it. It looks really cool. They won't let us, but I wish they would let us kind of go in and explore and see what's
That'd be
all
so
been
cool.
added. It'd be pretty sweet, but it's probably just the sidelines for us. So, but I'm very happy for the players. I know whenever those player association report cards would come out, that our facilities would be around the weakest grades. So I'm really glad that was a big focus for ownership to improve on.
Definitely. Yeah. And so we had two players from the Broncos speak today at conferences. We had Quinn Miners and we had PS2. They both raved about the new setup. Um, we don't really think about this because obviously we're not in the facility day to day. I was fortunate enough to, when I worked for the Broncos, like go through it and kind of see everything. But this was now like over 10 years ago. I didn't really realize how much walking there was to different parts of the facility. So Quinn Miners actually called out that's a huge improvement, especially you get to the weight room. It is right next door to the locker rooms now, instead of having to walk to a different building or all the way around. So that'll be nice. Those little seconds will add up. Hopefully, we're doing some more game planning, and we're more effective there. But it just looked awesome. The locker room looked sweet. It'd be so much fun to be a player with a brand new locker room like that. And that's where they're at most of the time. Like the stadium locker room, I think we've all probably seen photos of, but this is home for them
I
throughout the
mean,
week.
it's where they
So
are 90% of the time.
yeah,
They're only really at the stadium lockers one day a week if they're home. So this is where they need to be the most comfortable, and this is where they get ready. So it's definitely really important for them, especially with the walking. So you're conserving that energy. You're right, especially with how hot it is getting in Denver. Definitely.
yeah, 100%. And then just thinking about back to some of the other photos they showed, really cool. Like I think they're calling it the observation deck. I think that's where fans will be able to get that improved fan experience, which should be cool. And then obviously for the families of the players, and then for sponsors of the team, they've kind of got a cool private area. So really cool. I'm sure we'll get a video in the next couple days. I'm sure it's more than just the photos. I did see DJ Jones' wife post on social media of a little behind the scenes tour. So highly recommend everyone to go check that out. Pretty cool to see a little glimpse into the locker room, to the cafeteria, some of the family areas. So stoked for that. Coach, I assume you're also going to be at training camp at some point. I know Eric will be. Braden's going to be going soon. So report back with actual impressions. And
Oh
maybe
yeah.
you'll just happen to slip into the building and
Yeah.
get some private access.
Yeah, no, if we can get a one of those badges for media, you can wish, you can hope.
We can help. We can help.
You can hope.
So that is the biggest news that happened today. We also had some news sneak in yesterday. Ben Powers restructured his contract. This is not the first time he's actually done that as a Broncos player, so that's pretty interesting. For the 2024 season, he added 2 void years and actually took roughly $11 million of that salary as a signing bonus. That cleared close to $9 million in salary cap space. Remember, that was the year we were getting rid of Ross, so we needed as much cash as we possibly could. So, good deal for the Broncos. I mean, Ben Powers had a difficult season last year. Played through a couple injuries. Braden, what were your thoughts on the news as that kind of came out?
Well, I think it's really good because he's going in on the last year of his contract, right? You know, it's a good move, especially with his health being the way it has been this past year. And I'm sure he doesn't want to be traded around, you know, middle of the season. So he's keeping it cheap. He's keeping it to where, there won't be any mixing or, getting any of the new guys in there. Um, I won't spoil it, but I did see that this puts us around the $30 million in cap space, and there's a player on a
Hmm.
NFC team that that is requesting to be traded and asking for somewhat of that amount of money. So I see I won't spoil who. I mean, if I pretty much gave it away, but it's an area of need on the Broncos.
Yeah,
And once we get into the show later, maybe I'll say who that is.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, let's come back to that because what we're thinking, and we talked about this on a couple episodes ago, was Ben Powers could be a legitimate cut threat at the end of camp
Yeah.
simply because of the contract. And so it was going to be interesting with depth of kind of where the team's viewing him. Obviously, this is pretty much saying he's staying. We want the depth. This is a big, crucial year. We're still in this, dare I say, Super Bowl window. You keep good players around. The dude was a warrior. He played through some pretty significant, grueling injuries. But we'll get into a little bit in the predictions. We think about who are the depth pieces behind Ben and who could be stepping up for the future. This probably is the last year that Mr. Powers is here, so we'll see where
Yeah.
that goes.
Oh, he's
Um,
getting older, so
yeah, he is. Yeah,
and we
and
and
with
we've
those,
got guys behind. So
yeah, and the injuries pile on. You never know what the
mhm.
residual damage from those injuries were. Hopefully, he took the offseason to kind of get right, get some good therapy in, and be ready to go for this year. But you never know. So we'll definitely get into that. I've got two more pieces of news. We'll start with positive. Half price tickets went on sale today. I know our guy Braden tried getting any. If you were lucky enough to get some, please drop it in the comments so we can live vicariously through you with much cheaper tickets. Braden,
Please.
how was the experience?
So I'm not ever using my computer to get these tickets ever again. Tried to get them last year, was too indecisive on do I want to go to the Giants game, and that was rough. This morning I was able to get on. I was 40th place for Chargers and 400th for Dolphins, which I was dialed in on the Dolphins because I wanted to watch Devon Achan. Uh, my mouse decided to not work, and I think it had to do with the servers because every time I would try to move it, my mouse would start to move off screen, and I missed out on tickets. Uh, Even though I was very early and could have grabbed whatever seat I wanted for $45. And I am not happy.
We are going to call this Mousegate of 2026. The
Mousegate, yeah.
year Braden could not get tickets because someone in the Patriots organization bugged Ticketmaster and would not allow us to get tickets.
Are they paying off
Very,
Ticketmaster?
I don't know. Robert Kraft's got money.
Uh,
I'm bummed you couldn't get him. So
yeah.
disappointing.
It was a humbling experience of, sometimes you can prep all you want and it still doesn't work out, still doesn't go your way. That's a life lesson for all you out there.
Oh my. Well, maybe we can convince Coach Cobb on another call when we can talk to him to buy some of his season tickets. Maybe not for half off, but maybe face value. We'll see. But I hope some fans out there actually got a crack at it. I was in back-to-back meetings, so I didn't have a chance. I went, and the Dolphins game was the one that I was targeting too. I was like, I think that'd be perfect. in December. Weather should still be pretty good. Kind of a compelling matchup. Jaden Waddle versus his own team. You talked about A-Chain, which I think is going to be interesting. Who knows what that quarterback situation actually is? And like cheapest tickets were 150. I'm not spending 150 bucks pre-tax per ticket right now to go to that game.
Yeah. And then you get pre-tax, so you end up getting $170 on those tickets.
Yeah. So we'll see. You never know what can happen. Never know what pops up during the regular season. Hopefully, some people got some. My last piece of news, and then I'll pass to you if you got anything else. Jonathan Cooper news. So he did officially report today. He was in the building. We don't technically know what the plan is for him to practice. I'm sure that will be brought up. It'll be interesting to see how kind of Coach Payton addresses that. But yesterday we did hear there's an arraignment date, which is set for August 31st. That is a crucial date for all Broncos fans to be very mindful of because the 53-man roster needs to be set the day before. So this will be very interesting to see kind of what happens, how the Broncos handle this situation. Braden, what are you thinking right now going into camp? Is this guy going to be here for the whole season? I mean, he's going to miss games. Now it depends how many games, 6, 8, 10. It'll be interesting. He did not do himself any favors by getting arrested twice within a week. So I don't know how Mr. Roger Goodell is going to come down on this one.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. When you're talking about the issues that Mr. Cooper is going through, the NFL, my criticism is they've been lenient and they're in the past, especially around 2011 and maybe a little after that, with some Chiefs player, both of them. But I think they're kind of coming in a little stricter and trying to, because they've gotten some harsh criticism. I definitely see it being closer to 10 games missed than it is to 6. If they're going to do 8 games, that's probably that sweet spot that they do. You miss roughly half the season. And I think all of us, especially, we were talking about it before this happened, before the arrests happened, bringing in Von Miller. I think that's definitely a possibility, or you're moving Jonah Ellis back to being a part of that defensive end group or outside linebacker group instead of playing interior, because you got to do something about missing Cooper, who's been such an impactful player, especially for being such a low draft pick in those 7, I think the 7th round. So definitely impactful. Just we got to figure out something, because we've already lost the defensive tackle to the Titans.
Yep.
And we can't afford to lose edge rushers. So you either have to go out and get someone for cheap but effective, or next man up.
Yep. I'll bring it up. I don't know what day we're at. Probably 97 Von Miller watch. Is this the time, or do we wait a couple weeks? I mean, Von's definitely getting offers. He's waiting out for something. So that'll be interesting to see. But this is the perfect parlay into our predictions and camp battles. I didn't want to have to start here because this is basically our strongest position group, probably on the whole team, especially in terms of depth. But now we've got an issue. We've got to actually think about who's coming up behind Cooper if he's going to miss significant time or he's not going to be on the team. Who do you think kind of makes that jump? everyone's kind of talking about two players: our newly drafted guy, Mr. Onyadam, or Awazarike, who was out of the league for a year for gambling, and that was a bummer. But got a ton of promise. Coach Payton raves about him from an athletic perspective, and what he's was able to remain locked in and engaged. What are your thoughts? Do one of those kind of guys fill the gap, or do you see someone from the outside coming in?
Well, so I think everybody, like I said, hopes that Von Miller comes in. I think they're going to wait till after the 30th or the 31st. I think the Broncos, maybe there's been discussions. I have no idea. I'm not on the end, but I would think it'd be very likely that they've talked to Von Miller and they are waiting for Roger Goodell to come out with the sentence. I don't think we're getting rid of Jonathan Cooper. I think he's too impactful, and it's not going to be he worst case scenario. And I mean, extreme. He misses the season, right? But why would you do that when Rashee Rice gets to come back and after all his shenanigans? So I don't really see that happening. So I think they're waiting till after Roger Goodell comes out and says something and gives how many games the suspension. Other than that, I see Jonah Ellis moving back out to left outside linebacker. I think that's what makes the most sense. I think Onedum, I think he's too stocky. I think he's a little too, I don't think he's that quick off the ball. I think he needs to stay in that run stopping position, either in a defensive end or the defensive tackle area. Jonah Ellis seems to be the best guy available as far as on the roster. And here's the thing. We didn't draft him super low. He was I want to say a 3rd round pick. Could be wrong. I think that's 2nd or 3rd round. I want to say 3rd round. And right now he's just been looking for an opportunity, and this is his opportunity. He needs to go out and camp and really prove that, hey, not to quote Colin Cowherd again, but Cooper, we got this.
Yeah.
we got Jonah Ellis.
Yeah.
So
and this is where dudes cash in. If he has a baller season, he's backing up that Brinks truck, and he's going to be demanding that. So I think that's a slam dunk pick. Good comments. Guys need to step up. I like those. Savion Jones, Q Robinson. Sorry that Coach Cobb had to drop everybody. That he messaged us earlier today. Like, Q is who he's looking at, is like that step up guy. I'm right there with you. I think Jonah Ellis, obviously the coaching staff wanted him to move inside, provide some depth there, but scheme fit and familiarity in Vance Joseph's defense, which is not changing, throw him back out there, especially if it's like 6-8 games. What do we have to lose?
Well, and then you look at just where they were drafted and contract, and you're talking contracts. It is a business, and if Jonah Ellis goes out there and really proves himself, gets 9, 10 sacks, 11, gets in that double digit range, you're looking at, do we pay Ellis now because he was a 3rd round draft pick, and he might cost a little more, and maybe we can trade Cooper, or maybe you do it, maybe Ellis gets traded and you get a lot of draft capital because he's an up and coming guy. There's a lot of possibilities with that going on. That would be a great problem to have from the Broncos ownership and management standpoint.
Yep. And it honestly has been on the defense side of the ball where we have these homegrown guys. It takes them a year or two to kind of make a splash, maybe outside of like a PS2 as of recent. But then these guys, they go cash in. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, John Franklin Myers wasn't that guy, but being with the Broncos definitely got him to that next level where he was
Yeah,
able to. So
definitely.
let's see it. I think we got some good candidates back there. Still good depth. I want Jonathan Cooper. I am going to separate his personal life, which I don't care for him doing that stuff, and
Yeah.
the football. Jonathan Cooper, he had a great season last year, and he is a distraction for the other side where we've got Mr. Nick Benito, who hopefully has another monster season. So it's the Batman Robin. You need both for this to be successful and continue to apply pressure. But I'm sure Vince is going to get crafty and scheme up some good ways to get to the quarterback and create that pressure.
I mean, we still have Zach Allen. We can't leave out
who's a stud. Stud on the interior. Yep.
Yeah.
DJ Jones.
Batman. Yeah, you have Batman. You have Robin. You can't forget about Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner
Zach
Gordon.
Allen.
Or Alfred, whichever one you want to do. They're both great. So
incredible.
But yeah.
I like it. Okay, so that is the battle we didn't want in camp, but something we have to talk about. Let's go to the opposite side. Let's go to the offense. I think that the biggest battle that we're probably seeing, we'll come back to who we were talking about before and Ben Powers. I don't think that's the most compelling, and we've got some good depth there. But the running back room. Hopefully the deepest we've been in the running back room for a while. It's been a hodgepodge over the past couple of years. We never had the full love affair with Javonte Williams that I think we all wanted, especially after the injury. Dude had a baller season for the Cowboys last year. We bring in J.K. Dobbins, has a great start to the season, unfortunately goes out. Now we've got Dobbins back, R.J. Harvey. We drafted Jonah Coleman. The most beloved player of all time from Sean Payton, Tyler Bidet, who I'm not a big fan of. I don't know how he makes his team. Jaleel McLaughlin. What are you thinking about this positional group going into camp? It's difficult when you're in not a ton of pads throughout camp to really see where the flashes come. And we got to keep the guys healthy. So I don't think we're going to see JK in many of the preseason games, if at all. Who is your kind of, let's call it, it's probably going to be 4. How would you rank them? Early prediction right now. And then if you think that changes heading into the regular season, what do you think that moves to?
So I think right now it's pretty obvious. Before going in, you have J.K. Dobbins. He was a 700-yard rusher last year before his injury, before the hip drop tackle. So not because his body failed him, but because of a hit that is illegal. So
not an Achilles, not an ACL,
not an ACL. Hip drop tackle could happen to anybody, not a personal health issue where it's caused by his body failing. So he's number 1, obviously. I think it's still Harvey at number 2 right now. And then you have Coleman. And man, you're right. Sean Payton really loves Tyler Bidet. I'm more of a Jaleel McLaughlin fan. Yep. I think, watching him is being on the Broncos during Bo's rookie season really stood out. And last year, he was the highest yards per rusher on the Broncos last year. I think around like 4.8 or something like that. But the thing was, he just didn't get a whole lot of opportunities. So I would like Jaleel McLaughlin at the 4, and then Tyler Bidet goes down to he probably goes down to either a training camp guy or a practice squad guy. But knowing Sean Payton, knowing his tendencies, he probably likes Bidet more. And then going into the season, I have the biggest battle in that room being between Harvey and Coleman, where I do think Coleman is the higher prospect and will probably, I would think, take the position. Just watching his highlights in training camp when they've been available, he is such a smooth rusher. But again, it's really hard to tell because you don't have the pads and you don't have a whole lot to really look at other than college where they're RJ Harvey, UCF, Coleman, uh he's up in
in
not North
Washington.
in Washington. Yeah, I was gonna
Yep.
say Northwestern, but I'm like, it's not Northwestern.
Colors look similar.
Up at Washington, yeah, up at Washington, and those aren't very strong conferences, so it's really hard to
Yep.
tell. If one was in the ACC or the Big Ten, or then maybe you can have a little bit better player evaluation. But just until preseason comes, it's going to be really hard to tell. I'm watching Harvey last year, seeing a lot of good stuff, but he really needs to pick up uh, getting past that first hit. Like he gets past the first hit. Loved it, especially in the open field, but it's
Yep.
just he gets 3 yards, he gets 3.5 yards, and that's really just not good enough.
Yep. Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I think that's that same kind of mix going in. We've got a different factor with wide receiver. We've got Waddle now, and
Mm-hmm.
so some player position group is going to be losing snaps,
Yeah,
or targets, I should say. It's probably the running back room, um, and so we'll see how J.K. does. But I think it's whoever kind of screws up first is going to be on the hot seat early on, whether it's fair or not. Um, I think RJ, with everything kind of going against him, had a pretty good rookie season.
yeah.
As we look around the league, like, I mean, Ashton Genty was slow. I think he got a dose
Mm-hmm.
to reality. Um, I'm sure
I
you
think the
saw in the
difference
news.
there. I think the difference there is Ashton Genty was working with a probably a ranked 32 offensive line.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
So, I don't think anybody doubts that Genty is better than Harvey. But
Oh, yeah.
and I like Harvey close to the goal line. I'm not, someone who goes 3rd and 6. Let's trick him with a halfback draw or something like that. That it
Yeah.
feels like anytime we're above 3rd and 5, we're passing the ball because we just don't, unless Dobbins is in, we just don't trust our running attack to really pull that kind of weight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Like Jonah Coleman is that Maurice Jones-Drew,
Mm-hmm.
Alvin Kamara type of body. Like we just all have small running backs. That's it. We don't have the big
Mm-hmm.
bruiser. So I don't know. Maybe as Broncos fans, we shouldn't be too high or too low. We kind of know what Sean's going to do. Um, hey, maybe we all get surprised and Davis Webb throws in some wrinkles. But I think of all kind of positions on the offense, running back, especially in the league past couple of years, for rookies, it's difficult to get going fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw it in the news. They're talking about Jeremiah Love, and our good old coach, Nathaniel Hackett, comes out and says,
Matt
like, well,
Hackett,
he's a rookie.
he's a rookie.
Jeremiah Love, he's a rookie. Yeah,
Drafted
no,
3rd overall and not going to use him. Ugh.
I mean, but same situation as the Raiders. Terrible offensive line. Like you're just
Yeah.
literally hanging him out to dry. Like if he has a monster season, it shows that he's just an incredible running back.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. But it's going to be interesting if Coleman doesn't fumble, catches some passes from Bell out of the backfield, and especially in those short yard distances can make an impact. I'm right there with you. I think Coleman jumps RJ. And then we're having a discussion next season of is it Jonah Coleman and RJ Harvey as your two-headed beast and JK's gone, or something else completely. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
That's a health thing. I like Dobbins. I would like to keep him around for another, this year, next year, and see what happens as far
Yep.
as, contract extensions or health or just general age. But I'm hopeful with Harvey, but still not fully convinced. But that would be really, really cool to see the two guys you drafted back to back second round picks being your two-headed spear for the
Yep.
next years coming along. So
Yeah.
that would be very cool to see.
Yeah. And then George Payton would be getting more flowers, well-deserved flowers. Yeah, so
Definitely.
let's see what happens there. Let's flip to defense. I want to get your opinion on Jahdae Barron. Um, Unfortunately, kind of flew underneath the radar. We don't really know what his role is. It's a really interesting year coming up. We've got Jaquan McMillan that needs to get paid. We've got Riley Moss that needs to get paid. Obviously, we've got PS2. Um, there have been rumors that maybe you move Jahdae to safety. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. Where do you see Barron, and how do you evaluate him during this camp? And again, it's camp. I don't know really what we're going to see. If he plays in preseason games, which he's going to, lights it up, then we know he's on the right trajectory. Um,
Mhm.
but what are your thoughts there? I think this is a pivotal year. I hope this is not a failed experiment, especially because it was a
Yeah.
first round draft pick. But like, he's got to surpass two guys that are studs. And now maybe money comes in, but do you want to go with the cheapest option who's not as good as the guys that you left at the, the door? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. It really comes down to, as far as future goes, cap space, how big of the jump. If he doesn't get to competing with Riley Moss, I'd be very worried. Um, right now, especially, it really should be a Jaquan McMillan or Jahdae Barron on whether or not who kind of takes that slot or nickel back position. I would be if he fit a Bradley Roby type corner where it was that slot nickel
Yep.
um, style player, I think I'd be underwhelmed, but at the same time, at least like, well, at least he serves a purpose on
Yeah.
the field. Where if he can't even beat Jaquan McMillan, who I do love, he's a big play corner, but he's on the smaller side, and he's definitely earned the money he's gotten this offseason. And whoever, if we keep him or he goes to another team the following season, he's earned that. He's a really
Absolutely.
good big play corner. I would be, but again, I'd be pretty worried if he's not competing with Riley Moss to be that outside guy, especially just because of where we drafted him
Yep.
and the expectations that come with that. So yeah, he's a guy that you said it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense if he moves to safety, but I think if he's in that cover safety where um, LJ Skinner is, I don't want to see him be a backup. If he doesn't get the opportunities or make the opportunities himself, it might just be front office thing where we go, didn't work out, we're moving on, better to catch and release than to keep praying that something works.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, if we have to admit it, it sucks. But it's
Mhm.
because guys we didn't draft as high showed up and played
Yeah.
incredibly well.
And it's not like it's not like a thing where it's like our cornerback room is so awful and he didn't provide the necessary ability to do the job. It's just that our cornerback room is so deep and so good that he just maybe just isn't technically sound, or as the other guys who have been in the system, or it could be a number of things. Maybe if he doesn't get the opportunities this year, he's able to flourish somewhere else.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's a Jets thing. We ship him off to the Jets where they traded their first round corner, and
yeah,
maybe he does well, even though nobody does well on the Jets anyways. But maybe.
yeah. I really like that you brought up Bradley Roby. I mean, I think I'd be disappointed if like his ceiling is a Bradley Roby, but
Yeah,
that's the way it's currently trending. Um, yeah, he's got to make a name for himself and do something. I think did he have a forced fumble or he recovered a fumble? Something last year that was probably the highlight, and that was pretty much it.
yeah,
Um, I think that's going to be an interesting one to really see. And I mean, the writing will be on the wall. If he's really not being used by week 6 to 8, it could unfortunately be over for him. And then,
yeah,
like, does he really? I mean, now we even have depth in safety. We've got Hufunga, obviously. Brandon Jones made some more money. We've got some good guys that are still young. Devon Key, Jail Skinner, a couple of rookies. Like it's going to be even for that position in the D-backs room going to be really
yeah.
difficult. So
He wouldn't be starting. It'd be a injury situation where you would use him. So
yep,
it's
yep,
yeah, he really needs to do something this offseason, or it's hit the panic button on him, unfortunately.
yep,
But that's
yep,
just the way it goes.
yeah. So let's see what he can do in year 2. I should have talked about this earlier. Like stat line, 35 tackles, 5 passes broken up, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. But he only had 30% of the snap share. So like he's got to get to 50% if he's going to make an actual impact here. So
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
he's
see
played really well whenever he's been on the
when
field.
he's there.
But it's just the snap share is bad, and it's probably a consistency thing in camp. So
Yeah,
what comes down to.
I guess the one thing we can be hoping for, we blow out teams on offense, and we're playing fourth quarter pretty soft, and we're resting some of our starters, and this allows him to get on the field more. That was never possible last year when we were in 1-score games. So let's see what happens. That would be Hope Springs Eternal, best case scenario. If he still can't get on the field, it's because we've just got great talent, and that's the only way to do it. So that'll be interesting. Let's go back. We've got 7 minutes left in the episode tonight. Let's go back to the offensive line. Actually, sorry. The actual only real opening, and I apologize, everyone in Broncos country. I was talking with the wrong players backing up Jonathan Cooper. The one real job open that we've got, the biggest gap that we've got to solve on the defensive side, John Franklin Myers leaving, that kind of interior sack machine. I was talking about guys that backing up Jonathan Cooper, which is so wrong. These guys are probably going to be duking out to fill in JFM's role. Yoma Wazaworke, Malcolm Roach, which didn't even bring him up, and then our 3rd round pick, which is our first pick in the draft this year, Tyler Onyadam. I'm a big Malcolm Roach fan. I think Malcolm is just going to get better and better, and he probably fills that gap immediately. How do you feel about the rookie kind of coming in? And obviously, if we're drafting 3rd, he was our first pick. Something Vance Joseph really liked. There's something that jumped off on the tape that is like, okay, we got to get this guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be huge in the run blocking. He was kind of a bit of a project. He definitely wasn't the guy who we wanted to draft first in the 3rd round. I think we were looking at Eli Stowers. That's what it kind of felt like. So kind of probably saw him as a bit of a project. I don't see him starting in that position. I think DJ Jones, who's just a solid veteran, he's not going to be super flashy, but he's going to do, his job and his work. Malcolm Roach potentially being in that, that snap share or defensive end type position. If you want me to spoil who
here it comes.
Definitely
good. I wanted to tee you up.
Yeah. Yeah, so $30 million in cap space roughly, and Vita Vea, he announced that he wanted to be traded. We have our first. He's 32, so he's probably not worth a first round draft pick. But we have our second and third round picks, and we are a deep team. We can look and see what the Buccaneers are missing. They lose a wide receiver to 49ers. You know what we have? We got wide receivers.
Yep.
And that's deep. I have a prediction that Pat Bryant is going to kind of eclipse Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims, and Waddle's going to take that kind of slot receiver, and sometimes Pat Bryant's also a very versatile player.
Yep.
So I can see them all get Sutton, Pat Bryant, and Waddle on the field at the same time. Maybe Waddle takes the outside receiver whenever it's a two wide receiver set. But I see Pat Bryant eclipsing Mims. Maybe Mims or Troy Franklin, ends up going to the Buccaneers in a package deal to shore up our defensive line. And we got the money to do it.
I love that. That is an all-in. We believe we can get to the Super Bowl with this team and that addition type of move. That would tell you a lot that they like the wide receiver depth and they need that one additional run stopper hole gap on defensive line. Yeah, that was pretty interesting that Vita Vea came out and said that. I read something that most likely he just plays out the year on the contract. But if he wants to leave, he wants to leave.
And he's 32 years old. Yeah. You're not. I know the Buccaneers are going to be like, we can win a Super Bowl. You're probably a playoff team, at best, the divisional round. Your defense just isn't that good right now. So if you get offered a second and a third and Mims or Franklin for Vita Vea and a sixth or a fifth or something to kind of balance that trade out a little bit because of the age, I don't see the Buccaneers really thinking, yeah, let's turn that down. So
yeah,
I think,
I love that bold prediction. I hope these are the receipts and we can play this back.
Yeah.
The Broncos pull that trade. That would be massive. It would be just awesome.
Yeah, well, I predicted Sean Payton coming to the Broncos a few years ago, and that turned out right. So let's keep it on a roll. Let's keep it going.
Let's go 2 for 2. We got a minute left. I want to bring up one last battle, and I'm not even going to call it a battle, but I'm going to make an early prediction. If Bo is a little shaky, and not by shaky because he's not going to play in any preseason games, but he's slower at the gate than we'd like, I have a feeling we bring in another quarterback.
Oh, no.
No, not for Bo. No. Oh. Not for Bo. For Mr. Stiddy City.
Okay.
I think they need an insurance policy, because what happens if for some reason, I'm not putting this out in the ether, we get to the end of the season, do we trust Stiddy City? Even if there's no snow, do we want someone else? I heard some wild things yesterday of should have we just picked up Kirk Cousins? What if Kirk Cousins played better than Stiddy City against the Pats in the snow game?
Ooh, I mean, that specifically, I don't know, because Sean Payton does like his mobile quarterbacks a little bit, especially nowadays, and the offensive teams that are being run. And that's definitely not Kirk. But that does add a lot of leadership. It does, give Bo Nix a lot to learn from, because Bo, outside of Stidham, who only started a handful of games in his career, there's only so much you can learn from that, where Kirk Cousins is the perfect teacher. which, Fernando Mendoza gets, and that's great for
Yeah.
him. But I do agree that if Bo Nix, who might be rusty the first couple games because he won't be playing,
And that's okay.
or
We have a gauntlet the first couple
predicting
games.
that he won't be playing any preseason, or very marginal on the amount of snaps.
Yep.
That you do, maybe you have all your trust now in Sam Ehlinger. I love Jarrett Stidham as a person. You just can't unwatch that game.
It makes me nervous. Like, what could have been?
And the thing was, it's not even when the snow started. He had a really good touchdown pass to Sutton. But then after that, you're fumbling the ball. You're pushing it like a two-handed shuffle pass. I had a problem with this back in high school too. Backpedaling. He looks like a 1980s quarterback with that back pedal. He's not taking his 3-step drops. It's he played afraid. He played unsure of himself. And then when the snow comes and you're down J.K. Dobbins, the wind is too strong and you can't see downfield, and you're not as athletic as a Bo Nix. And then you have your kicker, Will Lutz, who I love, but the man can't hit a 50-yard field goal from the right hash to save his life. You got to go somewhere with it. It's unfortunate. And because I like Stidham so much as a person, and I think he's such a good guy, he's trying to be that Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of like really likable journeyman that just comes in clutch when you need it, but can't do it for too long. But yeah, you just can't unwatch him play that game. Yeah.
So yeah, if training camp starts a little bit slower for Bo, I could see us potentially making a move. And maybe it doesn't happen in the preseason, but you need to shore up that insurance policy as best you possibly can. He's also paid is one of the higher backups.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's worth that. I mean, it's difficult to gauge the value and the worth of a backup QB, but do you want Joe Flacco? I don't know. We've already done that. But honestly, Flacco. Joe Flacco might have performed better because he has a veteran presence. Does he push the ball forward like that? Probably not. Does he get sacked more? Absolutely.
Yeah. I would like Joe Flacco more than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And I know we tried out before, but who was our head coach? How good was our offense? It wasn't good. I had this conversation a few days ago because I've been watching the quarterback show that Joe Flacco is on. And it's like, we failed him at coming into the Broncos. I want to say Vic Fangio. Was it Vic Fangio or Vance Joseph who was our head coach? I want to say Vic Fangio.
I think it was Vic.
Yeah, because you're right, because we had Drew Lock in his rookie season, and which also was not great. Probably also due to us not being a very good offense, and it's where you land. And we see Joe Flacco. We're going on a Joe Flacco tangent, but I'm going in on it. All right.
I feel so bad.
We're going over
the show.
I'm going in on a Joe Flacco tangent here for a second. We'll end a little late. Ends his career his Baltimore career, not playing his best football. Comes to Denver, where we just get rid of Case Keenum after paying him money he definitely did not earn. And then he goes off to, I want to say, the Jets, where the Jets are the Jets. We were the Jets a little bit, dysfunctional.
We went through our Jets period.
Yeah, we went through. And then he takes the Browns of all teams to the playoffs, and they gets traded back to the Jets, and then goes back to the Browns. He probably went somewhere else, and then he goes, and with those weapons on the Bengals, he gives them a fighting chance, at least for a little bit, to make
It's
it
wild.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I would like Joe Flacco if he would be available, if Bo Nix is starting off a little slow, for an insurance policy to bring in Joe Flacco. And because who does he have now? It's not whoever he had, Elijah Moore, when they drafted him on the Jets. Good grief, that was awful.
Yeah.
And I was an Elijah Moore fan. But he has 5 solid receivers to get the ball to, and a top 2 to 3, I'm closer to 1 or 2, offensive line. So yeah, you saying Joe Flacco, I think he'd be a great option.
Yep. All right, now I'm looking it up because I didn't know this. I believe. Okay, he's not even available. We would have to trade for Joe Flacco. Now, this is if he doesn't get cut. The Bengals picked him up again to back up Joe Burrow, which honestly is the best possible insurance policy because we know Joe Burrow's health. So we would have to trade for Joe Flacco. Again.
You know what though? I think I might, if Bo's.
I would do that.
The Bengals traded a 6th round pick for him. We could do the same thing.
Yeah.
And say, here's Ellinger or here's Stidham, do with that what you will. And that's if Bo is starting off a little slow. If he's doing well, then Stidham is still a very solid backup that we should keep around. But I'm kind of fired up about Joe Flacco now.
Joe Flacco. It's what could have been. What if we didn't have Stidham and we had a more veteran quarterback in that position? Maybe the Seth Wickersham article is a little bit different if we have Joe Flacco back there. Because you could tell Sean knew, like, your chances of going to the Super Bowl when you don't have your starting quarterback are not great. Even if, hey, you're right. Stidham played probably out of his mind in that first quarter with the 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. But then it was just like, I don't know what you're doing, man.
And who knows if Flacco could have done anything in that snow. I think he would have been smarter. I think he has a better understanding of how to play in weather. His arm, while it's not what it was, he still has a pretty strong arm.
100%.
I still think it's either on par or stronger than Stidham, and I think he's more confident than Stidham. And he wouldn't have shuffle past it and fumbled.
Would not have happened.
He would have taken the sack. We would have punted, and Patriots wouldn't. We would have been in that game.
Yep.
So, oh man, yeah. You got me riled up, man. You got me.
Joe Flacco. You heard it here on Broncos Zone. All right, we need to end it. Otherwise, we're going to continue to talk about Joe Flacco. Thank you, everybody.
Who doesn't want that?
Now we got to reveal our Joe Flacco tattoos that we're hiding. But thank you, everyone, for joining in tonight. Next week, we will have our first impressions of what the Broncos look like in the first couple of days of 2026 training camp. So looking forward to that. As always, please remember to like, subscribe, follow us. Thanks for the comments tonight. We really appreciate it. We'll see you all next week.
Go Broncos.